everyone, Bob Gardini and I are here in Sydney. We're here to launch the Motor Dealer's Guide that we've been busy drafting in the last few months. We thought we'd shoot a very quick recording just to canvass some of the major reforms that have been announced in the last few months. So the first thing that we'll speak about today is the new Part 5 that's been inserted as a schedule to the Franchising Code of Conduct, which is specific to some car dealerships. So in respect of the car dealership agreements that are covered by Part 5, it only applies to new vehicle dealership agreements, which has a specific term and is defined in Part 5. So essentially what it means is not all dealers will be covered by Part 5, but for those that are, they will have additional protection across 3 different areas, and they are end of term obligations, capital expenditure and dispute resolution.
Yes, the capital expenditure provisions are really, I think, the most significant aspect of the new Part 5. So for new dealership agreements, as you mentioned, as defined, from 1 June 2020, new dealer agreements will need to contain, in a disclosure document, information relating to expenditure required by dealers. So this provides an important opportunity for dealers to be in discussions with distributors about the rationale for that capital expenditure, the timing of it, the detail of it, the risks associated, the benefits to the dealers, so that there is some mutuality between a distributor upgrading, say, dealership facilities, but also at the same time ensuring that dealers can recoup their investments. And the provision then goes on to say that there must be discussions between the distributor and the dealer, or for that matter, it could be a dealer council, as to the ability of dealers to recoup the investment. That's an obligation that distributors must comply with. Now that gives a great opportunity for those discussions to be on a mutually beneficial basis, supported by external accounting advice as to the extent of the expenditure and whether, having regard to the tenure of dealership agreements, the dealers can in fact recoup that expenditure.
The main reason that this is quite significant, the capital expenditure provisions in Part 5, is because prior to the introduction of Part 5, under the Franchising Code, and I believe it's Clause 30 of the Franchising Code, distributors could actually require a dealer mid-term, so part way through their dealer agreement, and ask them to, spend quite a considerable amount of money, say, upgrading the facility, provided they deliver to the dealer what is called a written justification statement. And as you can imagine, that placed dealers in a pretty precarious situation, because if they're part way, they've not necessarily budgeted to spend a considerable amount on upgrading the facility. So again, for those dealers who are protected and fall under the scope of Part 5, a distributor can only require you to spend on upgrading the facility or other capital amounts, provided before you've signed the dealer agreement, they've disclosed to you the obligation to upgrade, and they've also, as Bob mentioned, had that discussion with you and talked you through essentially what is required for you to recoup that expenditure.